So, a lot of women say that what they really need is more clarity, they need spreadsheet, they need strategy. But what I've found is that a lot of women, especially black women, we've been conditioned to trust struggle more than we've been conditioned to trust our calling. So, for a lot of people, when they're starting a business, and I was there, we want to know things like what's the guarantee this is going to work? I need guarantees. I need to know what the return on investment is if I'm going to invest in this business. On one hand, that sounds really good, right? Like, yes, you should. You should. And I'll give you an example of a conversation I was having with one of my clients that ended up being the biggest success story of my career. She ended up hitting $3 million in sales. But when we were having our call, she was saying to me, I'm going to need to talk to my accountant. And what I said to her is, your accountant is going to say no, because your accountant wants proof. He wants spreadsheet. He wants a business plan. And I'm not here to say that you shouldn't have a business plan, but I'm here to tell you that the nature of business, by the way business is designed, it is designed to have no guarantee. It is somebody deciding to take a risk, to take a path that's not usually followed, and go and create something for the marketplace and hope. There's no way you can guarantee it. I don't care what anybody says. And hope that is going to work. There are things you can do, right? There are things you can do to increase your chances, right? And lower your risk. But can anybody guarantee you? Oh, if you invest $100, I bet you're gonna be a millionaire. If you invest 30,000, nobody can in any business, period. And if they're telling you that, they're lying. So by the nature of what business is, when you say, I want to be an entrepreneur, you are saying there's a path that is a 9 to 5 that is guarantee. I'm putting that in quotation mark. And there's another path that is entrepreneurship, and it's not guaranteed, but it has the potential of giving me big reward, potential of giving me the type of life I want. And so I'm going to step into that. But I don't want to come here and glamorize or lie and say to you, oh yeah, if you invest here, if you do this, you are going to be successful. Anybody that tells you that is either trying to get your money or has not been in business. And so what ended up happening to my client, she said, you know what, you are absolutely right. That's fear, right? I'm using I'm going to talk to my accountant as a way to delay my decision. She ended up working with me, and we did great things. She hit $3 million in sales in one of her business, $300,000 in sales in her coaching business. So business by its nature, by its design, is something risky. You are taking a risk when you are deciding to jump into business. And so I was having this conversation during my coaching session, and I'm going to include the clip here for you guys, because I don't even think I can repeat how well I said it in that moment to my group. So we're going to insert that, and then we'll be. The biggest job as a CEO is your mind. Because if your mind is not there, like when I've had a bad week, I should just cancel all my calls. All my sales calls, I should cancel them because I'm not going to close anybody. And so the job is to figure out what's that next version of me, because she's not there now. If she was here today, you will not be in this program. You're in this program because there's a transition that needs to happen. Because there are people that are less talented than you, that know less than you, that are selling courses and making millions of dollars on the internet. The difference is, whatever they had to do to hype themselves, they did it. But as Black women, there's a wiring in our brain that if we're not at 100%, we're not deserving of asking for money, that we're not deserving of asking for money for something we love. We're going to negotiate for a job, but because it's a passion, because it comes easy, we don't feel deserving to charge for something we love. We feel like money should come from hard work. Yeah. Hard work, education. Yeah. And so this idea that you could just be who you are and people give you money doing something you enjoy, is a very difficult concept for Black women specifically to embrace, right? Because you're like, to be a nurse or whatever, I spend 80,000, I work 2 jobs, I struggle, and I earn my diploma. Now I'm working overnight, so my money. But coaching, you mean I'll just take this small class with this girl, then finish, just go on the internet, say I'm a coach, they will pay me. it doesn't compute in our head. It's the person that's able to rewire them, which is why the daily alignment calls are so important, to rewire their brain and feel themselves worthy. Because at the end of the day, we're going to set you up with everything the top coaches have. But if you are not that, if you don't embody that, I don't care how many calls you get on.
True.
So the biggest selling here is selling you. My job, our job here is for you to sell yourself on you. That's really the work. Now, if I tell you this on a sales call, you'll never buy from me. But the real job, though, is that piece. So if you
Yeah.
are able to get there within these 90 days, you are unstoppable. I'm
Yeah.
saying you are unstoppable. We have Antoinette who has made thousands of dollars now. So when you go back, you see her story there. And she used to charge like $100 per hour and struggle to even charge it. Now her program is $3,700 and she's been selling it like this to the same community. The same people. Most successful people have tried so many things that
Oh yeah.
failed. I don't know any successful person that hasn't tried his 20, 30 businesses. That's the only way. You got to try. You get those failures, you try and you keep trying. Those are the things that keep us playing small and
Yeah.
hiding in plain sight. We have to be as pushful as we are when we're inviting people to somebody's baby shower. Because us African, girl, you coming, right? You're like, I don't know the girl, but you come, you will remind them, you call them, you tell them
Yeah.
to bring the diapers, you tell them the time, the theme, you remind, but your business, you're a little bit worried about promoting why, right? So that's the part, that's the thing that we have to work on. And that's the journey I've been on because I wrote a book about hiding in plain sight. I am not the girl that wants to promote. Like, leave me alone. Let me just. I don't even want you to know my name. I understand when you guys are talking about like visibility and how scary that is. I hear you, but you got to remember too on the other side of it. Like for me, I do it. That easier ways to make money. You all have heard me say that. Working a 9 to 5 was the easiest money I've ever made in my life. Because I go to work, whatever is happening with you, pay my check, write my check on Friday, let me go home. I'm working my time and then I separate it, I'm going to sleep. Business is different. It's 24/7. You're always thinking. So to me, that's more difficult type of money. It is rewarding, but if you just want easy money, business is not it. People lie. You want easy money, work for somebody. Let them handle the stress, right? But the opportunity to change lives, there's nothing like it. So that's my motivation at this point is you guys. It's that opportunity to change lives is what keeps me going. And I'm going to be unashamed about that. Because there's a Rita, there's a Corinne, there's a Geraldine that needs me to be out there. Geraldine has a story about, and her whole program is built around how she paid somebody so much money and lost over 6 figures. I share it because it's on her website, her brand story, lost so much money by going to the wrong coach. It's not just the people that you're supposed to help. I don't mean that Geraldine should have hired me. That's not my area of expertise where she lost the money. But there are people that are going to the wrong coaches out there. And all they need is a Korean. But she's nowhere to be found. So they're being bamboozled all over the internet. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't want God to be like, you can't make it here. I don't want that on my conscience. So that's what keeps me going. And you got to figure out what your own why is and what's going to keep you going so that it doesn't matter what your friends say. It doesn't matter when hard times hit. It doesn't matter how much you invest. We cry about investing, but we'll turn around and have a birthday party for our kids. What's the return on investment on that? The baby is one. He ain't gonna remember, right? But we don't sit and look at it like, oh, what's the return? How long does it take? What if it's a mistake? The party is a mistake. Friend's birthday party you went to that you had no business going to and spent 5, 7 thousand to support her. That was a mistake. There's so many things we do and we are okay with those things being a mistake. We don't even double check ourselves. But the thing you feel God has asked you to do, you want spreadsheets. Now you are now an accountant. Suddenly you're, and I'm like, we play ourselves. And if you play yourself that way, it's so easy for you to give up because the enemy is like, oh, money is her motivation or fear of losing money. I just need to have her have 2 slow months away from transforming the lives of people. That's all it takes. But we've all sat in relationship with men that were no good, gave them 5 good years. Or I'm just going to give him another chance. Or I'm just going to still pray and fast. Or I'm just going to, and that was okay. But suddenly now for this thing, for this very thing, you are not an accountant. You don't have time to waste. You cannot, we got to be real with ourselves, right? And it's important to be honest and real with ourselves because if we don't know ourselves, the devil knows you. And he knows all he needs to do to stop you. If you think he doesn't want to stop you, you haven't understood the power of what it is that you have and how you're going to impact lives. You're not clear. You're not clear. So that becomes important. That's the seriousness to me. I want to make sure you're not going to let things stop you when it comes to business. Radical faith is what is required to still be in business. There's been months, y'all. I don't think there's been time where I've pulled back up my resume. I'm like, but how am I going to apply? Because if you Google me, you're not going to give me a job as a business analyst. I'm like, where do I start? Do I change all of my LinkedIn? There's been time in business that have been so hard that I'm like, okay, who do I call? Debbie? Debbie is my operation manager. I'm like, do I call her and say, do we pay for it? There's been time. What I'm telling you, business is not, if it was easy, everybody would be in business. Radical faith that says, if I die, I die. Mm-hmm. That kind of Esther, if I die, I die. But you're going to meet me dying doing my purpose. That's what is required. Nothing else. Any other thing is stories. If you have any other thing that you're like, oh, my breaking point is this. If I invest this, then that's where I draw the line. Trust that line that you've drawn, it will only be the line, like you will not make it. There has to be no line. Like how you have it in your marriage, in your parenting, where you're like, it's my child now. Even if he kills someone, what do you want me to do? It's that kind of radical faith that you have to have for this business. That I don't care what happens. Whether it's how I'm only in this business, it's me and the business. If you have that, you will always win. It's not the tools, it's not the marketing, it's none of those things. If you have that, you will always win. Welcome back. So the other thing about all of this is that a lot of us don't trust what comes to us naturally. We feel like because I'm gifted at talking to people, and we do this in corporate America as well. That's a topic for another day. We do it in our life that if it comes naturally, if I'm good at cooking, if I'm good at this, I can't quite charge for it, or I can't charge high for it because God forbid that I actually get paid well for what I enjoy doing. Newsflash, Oprah Winfrey probably enjoyed being a host of her own show, but Oprah Winfrey made $1 billion and counting doing what she loved. You deserve to make money and be well compensated for the value you bring to the table. So that's the biggest thing I want us to do and understand, especially as Black women in this society, that everything we have, we don't gotta beg and borrow and like struggle to have. You get to live in the flow. Your gift, the Bible says that our gift shall make room for us, right? So your gift get to make room for you. And if you are able to build a business around it, so many people have these gifts that they're not monetizing because they're like, oh, I wish I was like this other person. I wish I was taller. I wish I could sing. I wish this and I wish that. And you are wishing your life away. Instead, taking inventory of the things you are good at. See, that thing that you do so effortlessly, where people feel comfortable with you, where you can ask questions and people lean in, where people are calling your phone all the time, asking you for questions and advice, that's what coaching is all about. You can build a whole business around what comes natural to you. So no, you may not have all the guarantees that you want. It may not feel like the right timing. You may be waiting for another thing. Let me say this. There's never going to be the right time for you to jump into business. There's no guarantee to success. But you are betting against you. That's it. You are betting against you. And at some point, you're going to have to ask yourself the question, what type of life do I want for myself? Right? Do I want a life of safety? Am I trading my purpose for safety? Or am I deciding that I have to see what happened to me when I decide to live a life that's bold? What happens to me when I decide to put my gifts and give them as an act of service to the world? I want to see what it looks like when I give 100% of who I am. I want to see what it looks like when I put my DNA on something. I want to see what it looks like when I go all out all out in terms of my energy, all out when it comes to my investment. What does it look like? What can I create? What can I birth if I decided that I will no longer allow fear? I will no longer allow fear to hold me back. What business would I do? How much money could I make? How many lives could I create? That's the goal. That's the point of starting a coaching business, of starting a business with the aim of leveraging what you know, the hardship you've gone through, the lessons you've learned, so that you can make somebody else's path easier that's coming behind you. All right, so guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.